Hello to everyone who's just joining us. Right. So we'll get started in a few minutes. We'll just wait for people to rush in. Please let me know if my audio is fine. If my audio is all right. And if you can see my screen, the screen I'm presenting. So can we all see the screen I'm presenting here?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay, you can see the screen. Oh, awesome. Hello, Mr. Sam. I can see familiar faces here. Lanray. See vocabulary. So please, let's try to, if you're just joining us, please mute your mic so we don't really have feedback that will be disturbing everybody else. So for everybody just joining us, welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So how's everybody doing? How's today? Is there anything you're doing today you might like to share? Okay.
It's been quiet. I mean, it's been a quiet weekend after all the activities.
Okay, nothing much happening really.
Yeah. Yeah. Waiting for this.
That's fine. It's fine. We'll soon get started. So maybe let's wait probably 3 minutes. Okay, that'll be 2 minutes now. Wait 2 more minutes, then anybody that's in here, we get started without them. Okay.
So does this it's my first time using this
Okay, this yeah.
app.
All right.
Is it the same like every time you can minimize the screen and it doesn't go off, right?
Yes. It runs in your browser, so it's just on your app. So yeah, you can minimize, you can do all the basic stuff, but it's very lightweight, and I've noticed it works better with our Nigerian networks. Not much lag, even though the network isn't that fast. So it's cool. I think I can take up to about 100 people on the free tier. So and on I think unlimited calls too. So like the duration of the call. So that's another plus. So maybe just 2 more minutes wait, then we get started. But everybody can see the screen, right? Right. Hi to everybody coming in. So please mute your mics as you come in. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see my screen so we can get started. That'll be 1 minute now. 1 minute, then we'll get started. I hope no one found it too difficult to join because some people some people were really asking me everything was gonna how they were going to join and everything. But I hope you guys all got the email. Okay. Mhm. Okay, so I guess we'll get started then. So, okay. Okay, so hello to everyone. Hello to everyone here. Good evening to you. Um, so I'm your host for today, and my name is Tim Line, and I'll be taking you on Crypto Basics 101. So all the basic things you need to know about Bitcoin, blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain, and basically I made this title. I made a kind of a play on it, which is the revolution of money. You can also look at it as the evolution of money. So we'll get started now. All right. So okay, first things first. I'd like to thank the sponsors of this class, Binance. So Binance is the world's biggest cryptocurrency exchange right about now. But what I like so much about them is they have invested a lot into crypto education, and even so many things they have done to really bring everybody up to speed on what crypto is all about and how it's going to change the world. So let's quickly, now we've said that, let's quickly get started. So introduction. My name is Tim Lane Adigbamigbe. So I am a cryptocurrency trader, investor, and I like to think of myself as an educator. I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria. So one of my missions is to help accelerate, you know, Nigeria's transition into being a sustainable economy by leveraging so many of the qualities that will really push us forward in this digital age. So um, because I, in a developing country such as Nigeria, it seems sometimes like we're left behind, behind the rest of the world. So embracing this digital age and all it has to offer can really help push us forward. So I make that one of my personal missions. So my background is in petroleum engineering. So I majored in petroleum engineering from the University of Lagos. So I'm passionate about cryptocurrency education and driving up the adoption of blockchain and crypto assets in Africa. So basically, at the end of this class, we'll know what Bitcoin is, what cryptocurrencies are, how the blockchain works, several uses of blockchain, and several uses of blockchain, and you know how you can buy or even sell cryptocurrencies. Yeah. So let's get started now. All right. Okay. So when we talk about cryptocurrencies, the first thing we want to think about is what comes to mind is what is money. You need that concept of money. So we're going to define, just it's a kind of basic understanding. We'll get to know what money is, and why is money so important? Why is money so? What does everybody think about money, money, money? So we'll go through that now. So okay, money. What is money? Money is basically a tool you can use to exchange value, and it's just a means of how we've been exchanging value over time. So we can go back to the prehistoric days, the caveman days, where sorry, when past the caveman days, where societies and civilizations began to form. If you did your economics, you would talk about maybe something like a trade by barter, and how money was basically invented over time. Because what used to happen was, okay, there might be someone here, he's a farmer, there might be another person who makes farming tools. So the farmer is someone who is growing crops and maybe rearing livestock, and the other guy, maybe a blacksmith, is someone making tools. So what happens is, um, you begin to really think about how do you exchange value. I have maybe yams, pepper. The other guy has maybe hoes, rakes, pickaxe, whatever. So in those days, the medium exchange was kind of trade by barter, where I give you my yam, and all those stuff. But I guess most of us we learned, for those of us who did economics in school, we learned most of that. So money now became a tool to exchange value. So I can say, okay, maybe I have a cow I want to sell to you, and I need a hose. But the tool and the cow, maybe you will look at it that they are not of equal value. So money just became a tool that evolved over the years to exchange value, and it works because everybody accepts it as a kind of form of payment. So I'll quickly push on from that. So the main thing, the most important thing about money is that shared belief. You understand? So anything can be used as money recently, really. So rocks were used as money. There were times seashells were used as money. So that main thing is the shared belief. That shared belief is the important thing that actually makes money so powerful. So some objects were actually more suitable than others. For example, there was a time when the currency was what they call the gold standard. So gold was used before the creation of paper money, um, and it kind of worked well for a while because it was scarce. It was also durable. You don't gold cannot really rust. But because of the weight of gold, it became impractical for everyday use. I'll say, okay, let me carry a brick of gold and go give somebody because I want to buy something. So it became inconvenient. So that's when paper money was now invented. So and those days, the paper money was actually pegged to the gold. It got a gold standard. So it was basically the paper money of that time was basically an IOU. An IOU that says, okay, I owe you so amount of gold. So just hold on to this paper instead of exchanging the gold. So over time, people now began to exchange those IOUs, which is the paper money, in instead of the gold. And before you know it, the gold started to get kind of extinct. Although most central banks today will still tell you that for every, maybe for example, let's take the US so-called central bank, which is called the Federal Reserve, and they will tell you they hold, for every, maybe every dollar or every whatever, they hold so amount of gold, which used to be true but is no longer true in these times, where they keep on printing money without without really backing it up with gold. So and that paper money is what we call fiat money. So I'll go on. So what is fiat money? When we talk about fiat money, so fiat money is basically legal tender that derives its value from the issuing government. So, for example, in Nigeria, legal tender is the naira. Um, in in America, the legal tender is the US dollar, and in Britain or the United Kingdom, you have the pound sterling and different currencies like that. So basically, it's just your money or your fiat money is just a piece of paper that really has value because the government says, oh, okay, this has value. If you give me so, I can give you. If you give me so amount of money, I can give you a house, or I can give you a car. So usually, and that's why when you look at the foreign exchange markets, that means that the strength of this so-called fiat money is really in the government. If you do not have any trust in the government, that's why you see when they tell you, the naira is falling against the dollar, or the dollar is falling against the euro. It's just a form of, it's something to show that the trust in that government is already falling. So some of the issues with what are the issues with fiat money, and why did they come to be want to be replaced by cryptocurrencies? So the problem is, since the movement to fiat money, governments begin to print money anyhow, you know. So and one key property of money is that it has to be scarce. So if money is not scarce, um oh, sorry, my light just went off. I might have to. Right. So just give me a moment. Give me a moment. Let me just turn on my lights. Turn off the freezer. All right. Sorry about that. NEPA, as usual. Yeah. So where were we? Okay. So the government basically they can print as much as they want. So I was saying that a very key property of money is scarcity. So any money that's not scarce will actually tend to inflation. So as I said earlier, the earlier days of the money when it was backed, every note, every paper note you saw was backed by gold. That was called the gold standard. But when that standard was now abandoned, what makes your naira, what makes your dollar valuable? It's because it's defined as the legal tender in whatever country you live in. And so because governments have now, they're no longer so trustworthy, and they do what they want based on policy, based on so you know they do anything they want with the naira or with the dollar, and it becomes so hard to really know the value of your money. So basically, now let's talk about cryptocurrencies. So what is a cryptocurrency? So a cryptocurrency, it's a digital form of money. It's protected by cryptography. It can be duplicated or destroyed. Is also kind of a distributed P2P network. It's run over a distributed P2P network, and it's borderless. So I'll go over those points. I'll go over those points. So basically, it's a digital form of money. So what does that mean? Cryptocurrencies are internet money, so to speak. They only exist on your computer or over the network. So, for example, um, just it's just for example, when you open your bank app, you look at numbers on your screen. You understand? So those are not actual notes, but you can say, oh, I have 50,000 naira in my account, because you can see those figures. So it's just basically an IOU that the bank will tell you, okay, if you have um, numbers on your accounts, you can walk into any bank, any branch, and say, okay, I want to cash out so, and they'll give you that money in terms of the hard cash. So cryptocurrencies are now there. What makes them special is they're protected by cryptography. Sorry. So that is one of the most essential properties of cryptocurrency, and that's what really makes them secure. That makes them secure. So cryptography is this kind of it's just like this kind of math that is run by computers that's just really hard to crack. In fact, I think some cryptographic codes can take almost a million years theoretically to crack if you want to crack the code. So they are kind of secure. So also cryptocurrencies cannot be duplicated, cannot be destroyed. So cryptocurrencies are also a kind of P2P network. So that's a short for peer to peer. So peer to peer is basically where you have let's just think of the internet. The internet is actually a form of peer to peer network because I have my computer here and it's connected to if I want to access Facebook, I access Facebook. But Facebook also has their computer in their office. I want to access Twitter. I want to access Google. It's just a connection from my computer to Google's computer. That's why I can say, oh, I'm going to Google's website or I'm going to Twitter's website. So it's the same thing with cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are a similar kind of network. Is that you have what you call a node, which is just one computer running the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency software connected to another one, connected to another one, connected to another one, as you can see in this image here. So they're also borderless. So because of the P2P, the peer-to-peer nature of cryptocurrencies, they're across all borders. I can be here and send money via cryptocurrencies to somebody in Russia or in Antarctica or even the International Space Station. So another key property of cryptocurrencies is the fact that they are irreversible. You know, they are irreversible. When you make a cryptocurrency transaction and it has been confirmed, they are irreversible. It can be reversed. And because of the nature of cryptocurrencies, it's kind of difficult to track compared to your normal, banking system where everybody's account is tied to a name, is tied to an identity, that kind of thing. So you can call cryptocurrencies what the word you call pseudonymous, which is you if I send a cryptocurrency transaction, you can see where it's going, but you might not necessarily know who is behind both ends of the transaction. That's both the sender and the receiver. So let's move on. So let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is first cryptocurrency to be created, and it has all the characteristics that we just mentioned in the last slide. It has all those characteristics. Then it is also decentralized. So when you talk about decentralization just means a lack of a central entity. So just so you know, for Bitcoin and most other cryptocurrencies, there is no central entity behind it. So just think of Bitcoin as a kind of community project where we let's say a group of people come together in the community and say, okay, let us build a house, and somebody brings cement, somebody brings block, somebody brings building sand, somebody brings what else again, brings water, somebody brings labor, different things like that. So just think of it as a community project. So that's what cryptocurrencies are basically. So there's no central authority. For example, with Bitcoin, there's no central authority behind Bitcoin. There's no government, no central bank. There's no CEO of Bitcoin. Blah blah blah. So um, you look at it, you say it's also transparent. That's another thing. You say cryptocurrencies are transparent. So what does that mean? So basically, for cryptocurrencies, every transaction that is made is is recorded on what we call the blockchain. You understand? So every transaction is transparent from the beginning of Bitcoin. The first day Bitcoin started in about 2009. It's every transaction that's ever been done on the network is recorded. So another thing is So those transactions, you can actually see them on what they call a blockchain explorer, and they can be reverted, as I've said earlier. So let's talk about scarcity. Bitcoin is actually very scarce because, as designed, it Bitcoin only meets there are only 21 million bitcoins that are ever going to exist. So, this scarcity makes it kind of immune to hyperinflation. And this will mean that, anything that is scarce like that, and the supply is not going to increase, it's going to give you more, it wouldn't, the risk of inflation is actually reduced, and the value will tend to increase over time. So it's also open source. Open source means, in software, open source means that anybody can contribute to that project. So everybody can see the code that is behind that project, and everybody can, okay, maybe not everybody can modify, but everybody can contribute. Then the whole, everybody involved in the project will now say, okay, is this guy's contribution good enough? And are we going to adopt it? So currently there are thousands of developers working on Bitcoin, and the number is increasing every day. So it's also censorship resistant. So because it's decentralized, nobody can actually stop Bitcoin. And if for those of us who are Nigerians here, we know about the NSAS movement and how people were able to raise more than about 30 million naira using Bitcoin when the central bank allegedly blocked their accounts. So there's no database you want to hack in the terms of Bitcoin, because the database exists on everybody's computer that is on the network. So it's difficult to hack. It's difficult for you to shut it down. When some people say, "Oh, maybe Bitcoin crashed," and they're talking about the price or something, Bitcoin cannot actually crash. The price might fall in value, but it can actually crash. So the whole decentralization and cryptography makes it very, very secure. It has never been hacked. And it makes it very, very secure, and it makes it resistant, to being shut down by a government or something like that. So now, who created Bitcoin? So that is a question a lot of people maybe don't know about, but that the name is Satoshi Nakamoto. So Satoshi Nakamoto is somebody we don't know. It's actually a pseudonym that was used by the creator of Bitcoin. We do not know if it's one person, this single individual. We do not know if it's we don't know if it's a group of people. But that was the pseudonym that was used by the creator of Bitcoin in the first emails, and the forum posts and the white paper and everything, all the initial communication before Bitcoin started. But the name is clearly sounds like a Japanese name, yeah. So, but nobody really knows, because the person, even in the communication, was writing in very, very clean English. So people believe maybe he or she could be a she. The person comes from an English speaking country, because all the posts, the person was actually writing in very, very good English. So the guy is a pseudonymous computer scientist, creator of blockchain technology. He what he did basically was solve what they call the double spend problem, which I'm not sure we might not have so much time to go into, but you can read about it. So he also launched Bitcoin in 2008. He wrote the first memos and papers and everything, all the paperwork, but actually launched the network Bitcoin and the first software in 2009, and disappeared, and nobody has ever heard from him since then. So that's it about the creator of Bitcoin. Since 2009, nobody has heard of him or her or they or she or whatever. So so now let's talk about blockchain. So what is a blockchain? When you think about blockchain, I think this is one of the concepts people find a little bit difficult to grasp. So a blockchain, just think about a database. When you think about a blockchain, just think about a database. So it's a database that stores any type of digital data. You understand? So, but unlike a conventional database, a blockchain is made up of multiple copies of a particular data or a particular database. So it's like you have, as you can see on the map here, I could be in Africa running a crypto node, and that blockchain comprises of all these people having that same information all over the world, having that same information all over the world, all over the world, all over the world here. So that's just it for you. So just imagine that a computer program it replicates itself all over. It replicates itself all over, and that is what you call a blockchain. So it's basically what it does is, it's like it syncs over time. So like what we call synchronization, that if a change is made, if I'm here and a change is made originating here from Africa, it is distributed all over the network. Each little change, to ensure that everybody's on the same page and that the information that is there stays valid. So that is that for a blockchain. So we can explain some other things. So another reason we call it a blockchain is because it consists of a chain. Just think of it when you want to look at a blockchain and see how it's really, even though it's digital, how the concept is. Think of a chain, right? You know the way a chain is. If you have a chain for your dog, or chain you use to lock down stuff in your homes, that chain, you think of it as one links to another, one links to another, one links to another. So basically, now we said a blockchain is a database. So just think of a database as each database as a block, right? That now links to the next one. So if we imagine that, so that distributed database, let's now imagine that it's a kind of what's the word, ledger. It's a ledger. And a ledger is just record of transactions. Basically, it's a simple ledger is what you see in shops, where you say, okay, you have a shop and you have somebody, you put there to run your shop, and you just say, okay, as you sell each item every day, just put down what was bought, what was sold, and what price. Maybe you can even add the time it was sold, maybe the time or date. So that's what a ledger is. So a ledger is just a book that records financial transactions, debit, credits, balances, dates. That's just it. So, but a blockchain ledger is special because it can be used to record or transact any kind of digital data, not just money. That's one thing some people don't know about cryptocurrency. So it's not just about money. There's actually some crypto which are not actually money, so to speak. So what really makes this thing really valuable? So it could be money. For example, Bitcoin is what we call a peer-to-peer electronic cash network. So basically, it's just a network that was built for the function of distributing cash, sending cash from one person to another. So if I have one Bitcoin, I can send maybe half of it to Yinka. I can send another half of it to Chike, and those are two transactions I've sent out. So you could also have documents on the blockchain. You could have documents. You could have all sorts of digital data. So even some people are working on projects that you could actually, if you have you own a piece of land or property, your title deed, your C of O, you could put that on the blockchain. You have it's because I'm why is that so? Because it's a kind of tamper-proof system, because of the whole linking of those blocks that makes it quite secure. Like when you pull a chain is very strong, and it's because of those links. So they say that you're only as strong as your weakest link. So just think of a blockchain like that. So that structure is what makes it tamper-proof. You know, a blockchain, it can only fail. It can only be changed. A blockchain database can only be changed if all the participants of a network agree that change, you know, is it's correct or is accurate or is valid. So that's what we call consensus. So let's move on. So another thing is on the blockchain, the participants don't really need to trust each other. So there's this saying in crypto where they say, don't trust, verify. So how that works is, sorry, how that works is okay. So how that works is everybody everybody sorry, people coming in are distracting me a bit. I have to admit them in. So everybody needs to, sorry, nobody needs to trust each other for the network to work. Nobody needs to trust anybody else, because everybody has, it's like everybody, I have a copy of a transaction. Do you understand? So I have a copy of the transaction, you have a copy, your brother has a copy, your sister has a copy, everybody that wants to get a copy can get a copy. So you can't really, makes it very difficult to cheat the system because everybody has a copy of that data. So the participants don't really need to trust each other. They just need to go on the blockchain and check, okay, this this happened, this happened, this happened, and maybe let's say there are 1 million people running that software, and they say, okay, the 1 million people agree that this is what happened, and that has been time stamped, that has been locked basically down. So that's that. So if you want to just imagine it, let's say, just say you have 10 people that they don't really know each other, so everybody holds that copy of the transaction. And so this icon here, we can look at it as that block record of transaction. So everybody has a copy of this, right? And they keep on recording the balances, as somebody sends out money, somebody receives money, they record the changes, record the balances. So what you can notice is that there's no single person in charge. The data is verified by each and every person equally. You understand? So if somebody tries to cheat the system, what's going to happen? For example, let's say I have one Bitcoin and I send that one Bitcoin I have, the total, the whole of my balance, I send it to, let's say, um, Chuku. I send it to Chuku, and I now want to act like I haven't spent the money I already have, which is what we call a double spend. And I try to push that record of, let's say, that bad transaction is here. I try to push it onto the blockchain. It doesn't work because every other person has a record of all those transactions, and they can say, no, what you've done here is not valid, and we do not accept it. So, you know, any fraudulent move, you would quickly be rejected. So because one of the problems of digital money, because Bitcoin is not the first digital money that has been made or people have tried to make. But the issue was, if I have money and you say, oh, it only exists digitally, why can't I just copy that money? Let's say I have 50,000 naira. Let's just use naira for this scenario. I have 50,000 naira. Why can't I just copy my 50,000 naira and paste it again so I have 100,000 naira, right? And in a lot of iterations of digital money that have existed before, that would have actually been possible. So the whole blockchain just ensures that nobody can do all this kind of things. Anybody who tries this, because everybody has a copy of transactions as they are being made, the person will be actually be kicked out and will say, no, this is not valid. It's not going to go onto the ledger or the blockchain. So all right, so now we have Bitcoin. Now let's understand. We've talked about Bitcoin, we've talked about blockchain. Let's now bring it all together and see which is which. So what is the difference between Bitcoin? What's the difference between blockchain? So we have Bitcoin on one end. Bitcoin is a tradable digital currency, right? It's a digital currency, first of all. is also a financial asset. So when we talk about financial assets, these are things that are you know that are usually tradable, easily tradable on an what we call an exchange. So you can have what we call stocks. Examples of financial asset: we have stocks, we have bonds, we have treasury bills, we have what else? We have forwards, we have swaps. You know, there are a lot of financial assets actually that exist. So Bitcoin now is another class of okay. We have currencies actually. Currency is actually financial assets. We have you have precious metals, right? So they are tradable. They're actually tradable on exchange. So Bitcoin now falls under the category of what we call a crypto asset. So that's a new, was is a new what we call asset class, right? So um, it is also the first and most popular cryptocurrency, right? So another thing is it is pure computer software, and that software is open source. Remember we said open source software is something that everybody can see the code behind that software, and everybody, as long as you have some knowledge of coding or whatever, you can actually contribute to that code base, or as they call it. So it's also public, very public. In fact, you can go to what we call the blockchain explorer and look at transactions. Maybe I'll even go through that in the course of this class if we have some time. So it's public and decentralized, no central entity controlling it. That's Bitcoin. So for blockchain, I hope everybody can still hear me, still see my screen. So for blockchain, if you can't, you can put it in the chat so we know how to fix that. So for blockchain, we have a distributed database, right? Now let's try to put it all together. A distributed database, it records information. That's the function. So for Bitcoin, the Bitcoin blockchain records what kind of information? It records information regarding transactions. Do you understand? So it basically records balances. For example, the way a transaction works is I have a balance. I have a balance in my account. If I'm talking naira, let's say I have 1 million naira in my account. If I make a transaction, a transaction I can make is either I receive money or I send money. So if I send money, my balance should reduce. If I receive money, my balance should increase. So Bitcoin blockchain just records information about transactions, either outgoing or incoming. So now let's get back to blockchain. So blockchain actually can be used to record any kind of information. Like I said, it could be maybe even your health information, maybe like your blood type, any kind of information. It could be government information, maybe your government budget. If I will still get into that in the course of this class, it could be your government budget, stuff like that. Any type of digital data has several use cases, so many, so many, so many use cases, various ways you can actually build it. And maybe when you begin to explore a little bit more about this subject, you see a lot of people have made different kind of blockchains, different things. And basically, it's can be summarized as what you call a digital ledger. So that is Bitcoin versus blockchain. I hope everybody is able to get that. But we'll still have a Q&A session, so that'll be fine. So now let's talk about Bitcoin versus fiat money, right? So fiat money, basically, remember we said fiat money is your notes, your naira notes, right? Sorry. Fiat money is your naira notes, your US dollar, your Great British pounds, and your coins and your associated coins, which is basically legal tender. So differences, right? So you have fiat money. Fiat money is centralized, right? A single central entity. In the case of Nigeria, you have the the Central Bank of Nigeria. In the case of the US, you have what we call the Federal Reserve, right? And we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin is actually decentralized, no single central entity, right? So fiat money is controlled by governments, as we could see in the NSARS movement, where somebody in the government could basically talk to the central bank governor or somebody, whoever is high up there, and say, okay, I want so person's account to be blocked, and they will get that done. I think there was even a time where they actually got the all the betting companies, all the gaming or casino companies in Nigeria. They posted what they call post no debits on their account, and they couldn't access their account for, was it some days or some weeks? I can't remember right now. So there's all that risk, there's all that exposure based on just the whims of any government. If you have imagine you have in countries where they've had dictatorships, it has really been serious. Venezuela, or socialist governments, it can really get really serious where your money begins to lose its value. We have Zimbabwe. There's so many horrible examples of that kind of thing. When What happens when the government, you have a bad actor in government that controls your money. But for Bitcoin, that can happen because it's a peer-to-peer network. The network is just made up of individuals. You understand that each entity secures that network, each entity contributes that network. So fiat money is not scarce. Yeah, it's not scarce because there is an unlimited supply. You do not know what's going on in either of your central banks in any of the countries you live. They print money at will, what they call their monetary policy rate, if you're into economics and all that shit. So um, we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a controlled and limited supply. So what with this in Bitcoin, all these things are documented in the code and can be changed. And okay, let me not say cannot be changed. It can actually be changed, but for it to be changed, it still will still fall back to what we call consensus. So everybody, when we say peer to peer, that's every individual in the network will have to, kind of pass a kind of majority vote to actually change all those properties of this money, which is very, very unlikely. So, we now have in fiat money, we have what we call chargebacks, right? When maybe your transaction fails to go through, or you know, maybe you make a transaction, they tell you, oh, maybe it will cost you $10 to send $100 to somebody else, and they say no, okay, they came back to you and tell you no, it actually costs us $12, and they charge you back $2. All those kind of stuff that goes on in banks, especially when you're making international transactions. So on Bitcoin, you have irreversible transactions. Those transactions are actually fast and cheap. And there's a time somebody on the Bitcoin network sent about $1 million or some millions of dollars actually, and paid only about $2 or even less in fees to move that kind of money. So you can imagine in a banking system. I'm not a banker, but I know to send $1 million over borders, you might be talking about transaction costs of up to $1,000, if not more. So depending on where you're sending it to. So fiat money is inefficient because it's just difficult to send, difficult. So many. If you want to send money from from a place, one place to another, there's so many friction you actually have to go through. Then we have Bitcoin. Last but not least, it's censorship resistant, and for me, this is one of the most important properties because you wouldn't actually realize how much your trust, your wealth is in the hands of the government. The government can just wake up if, God forbid, a military dictatorship should arise. The government can just say everybody's assets are frozen, just like they did during the civil war, even in Nigeria. So it's not so far off. Yeah. So it's Bitcoin is actually censorship resistant. So that's that. So we'll move on. So for example, now that, yeah, this slide just shows your typical bank transfer. Alice here now wants to send $200 to Bob, but she has to go through the bank, right? So you see she has to pay a fee of $14, which is already about 7% of $200 she's about to send. So you see only $186 actually gets up and ends up in Bob's hands, and which is 7%, and it might actually take 3 working days to process what they call usually SWIFT transfers, or transfers that go out from one country to another. It could even be more, you know. So, and what remittance is a very, very big, big part of modern civilization, and just look at the stats. Let's say worldwide remittances made up to $689 billion in 2018 alone, and look at 7%. So that means in terms of fees, sending 689 billion would actually cost about 48 billion to send. You understand? So in terms of fees, the banks would have raked in 48 billion just for sending this in. And it's just sometimes you begin to look at it that is this not ridiculous? So meanwhile, let's compare with the blockchain transfer. So same Alice, same Bob wants to send a transfer over maybe the Bitcoin blockchain or any other blockchain, and she sends $200 worth of whatever cryptocurrency. It goes through the blockchain, and you're only going to be charged about $1. And this is again it's a kind of flat fee that isn't, for example, if this $200 should move up to $20 million, she might still pay around $1 for that transaction. So $199 actually ends up getting to Bob. $1 is about 0.5%. Processing time it's about 30 to 90 minutes, and I could have in that time I could have sent it, to Russia. I don't know why I like Russia so much. I could have sent it to the UK. I could have sent it to US, just anywhere, Australia, anywhere, even maybe on the International Space Station, as long as the person has a wallet to receive it. So that's it. So, yes, this was the. So it's even less. So this was the what I was talking about. So somebody paid on January 16th. Somebody paid $0.49 in fees to move $1 billion in a single Bitcoin transaction. Isn't that amazing? So, okay, let's move on. So, now let's talk about wallets. So, you just think about your normal wallet where you keep your money when you're going out. You say, okay, I put my money, put your ID in your wallet. So, cryptocurrency wallets are similar. So, they are basically a kind of tool you can use to interact with the blockchain network, and there are some different types of wallets. So we have what we call the software wallets, we have the web wallets, we have the desktop wallets, mobile wallets, we have the hardware wallets, we have paper wallets as well. Yeah. So all right. So let me explain just what it really means, because maybe you might not get what that means. So basically, a crypto wallet it's a tool. Think of it as a tool that you can use to interact with whatever blockchain network you're talking about. So you know they have the major groups are actually software wallets. So that's wallets that is actually exists software. Maybe you can install the wallet on your phone. You can actually go use it on the web, or you can install it on your laptop or your computer, right? So, and we also have the hardware wallets. So the hardware wallets are like USB drives, right? So you can actually store crypto. There are some cryptocurrency wallets that are like USB drives where you can store your cryptocurrency and actually take that USB drive anywhere you want to go. So and they go up in the terms of security. They actually go up like that. So the software wallet is the least secure. Then the hardware wallet is the next one, yeah. And the paper wallet is the will I say it's the most secure. That will also depend on where you actually keep your private keys. So okay, now depending on the mechanism of this wallets, they could be you could call it you have what we call hot wallets and we have what we call cold wallets, right? So as we can see here, we have hot wallets is your software wallets. These are your wallets that are somehow connected to the internet. Your cold wallets are actually more secure because they are not connected to the internet, so they have less risk of being hacked, right? So this is if when you want to store, maybe you have a lot of Bitcoin, you want to store it, you want to keep it in your cold wallet, right? But software wallet, maybe you're someone you're a trader like me, and you actually move your crypto or your crypto assets onto the exchange to trade and stuff like that. You probably prefer a soft wallet because so it's easier to move. that way. So hardware wallets, as we talked about there, they're just electronic devices. It could be some look like maybe a mobile MiFi device. Some are like flash drives, stuff like that. So the wallets, the cryptocurrency wallets, you have what we call the private key and the public key. So the public key is, I don't know if you've ever seen a crypto, what they call a crypto wallet address. Just it's like a string of numbers and letters, right? Just random numbers and letters. So that random number and letters, the one you usually say, oh, somebody will say send this to so address. That is the that is what we call the public key, right? Is what identifies that wallet and says, okay, this is a wallet. Then you have the private key. The private key is what enables you, as we said, is a key. So it's what enables you to have access to that wallet. So anybody who is in possession of the private key is actually the owner of the wallet, right? Because it's those wallets are not tied to anybody's identity. So anybody in with the private key is in charge of those wallets. So I'll try to speed up now. If time is actually far spent. So let's talk about blockchain use cases, right? So there are so many industries that have adopted blockchain technology. So many industry leading companies. You have Facebook, which are working on their own blockchain. You have Visa, Mastercard. Everybody wants a piece of the action now, right now. So we have blockchain use cases. So three major ones I'll just talk about, which are can be useful to everybody. If you even have an idea, maybe you are a software developer, you are just someone who sells stuff. So we have remittance, right? Remittance is what's remittance? Just payments, right? Sending money from here to there, from here to there. So remittance is very key for me. In fact, I feel it's one of the most important things about cryptocurrencies for me, and most one of the most useful things you could actually use it for. So let's say you have a store, right? Maybe you sell a digital product, maybe you sell courses, maybe you even sell wigs, maybe you sell beauty products. You can actually set up your, e-commerce is all the rave right now. You can set up your e-commerce sites or your whatever, even if you are transacting over Instagram or Twitter, that kind of e-commerce, and you can actually set up a cryptocurrency wallet, right? Since you can actually ship your goods anywhere in the world, maybe via DHL, via all these courier services. You can also receive payments that are not necessarily limited by your banking system, right? Maybe you have a bank that cannot receive payments from Russia, cannot receive payments from the UK, right? You can actually receive your payments in cryptocurrency. Then you have supply chain. Supply chain too, it's another one, right? Okay, so I probably skipped a slide. Well, you have supply chain, you have healthcare, then you have charity, right? Then there's decentralized finance, which is something I'll still go into. We have what we call decentralized applications too. It's also being used in gaming. It's also being used in governance, identity management, right? You can actually store people's identities on the blockchain, and it's actually quite secure. You have Internet of Things, but that is all. These are courses on their own, or classes on their own. So for remittance, the most important thing for blockchain is you don't have there's no central entity, so you don't need any intermediary. Maybe for example, now I think Flutterwave in Nigeria offers the service of accepting payments from the US, right? It will first of all go through Flutterwave, they take their fee. It will go through your bank, they take their own fee before it gets to you. All those kind of things. So less intermediaries, lower fees, faster transactions. That gets you to you get your money quickly. You can do anything with your money, and you can the reach is actually massive. You have a massive reach. You can reach a lot of people. Let's talk about supply chain. So supply chain is where we have people moving goods and services, distributing goods and services up and down. Maybe you supply, let's say you make furniture or upholstery for cars, and there are a lot of issues or pain points that businesses and supply chain actually face. And you see, it's actually a very, very difficult. If you read more about it, supply chain is a very difficult business to actually break even in, because there's a lot of fraud, there's a lot of missing items, different things. So blockchain can help in that way, because with blockchain, if you can implement supply chain on the blockchain, you can have a tamper-proof database. So let's say, oh, when it leaves your warehouse, it's recorded. That record cannot be changed. When it gets to the next stop, it's also recorded. Yeah. So you have your tamper-proof database. You can probably customize it. It gets to be secure, transparent. Everybody can see it at the same time. And a lot of um, a lot of advantages that would actually go to improving your business, right? If it's electronic, everybody can see it quickly. Maybe even your end user who is expecting your shipments can see it. There's a less chance for fraud. The labor work are reduced, the costs are reduced after the initial setup. So it's there's a lot of potential, but I know this might not be something difficult to this might not be something very easy to achieve, but it's an idea that's out there. It's out there. So healthcare too, it's another very big one, because healthcare is based on a lot of privacy laws, right? So you shouldn't have access to somebody's medical records. So for healthcare, blockchain can come in that, oh, I want to store so patients records on the blockchain. It can be modified. It can be modified easily, because as we said, blockchains can be customized. So maybe, for example, the irreversible nature of the Bitcoin blockchain. That's just one blockchain. You can make your own blockchain that maybe the information can actually be changed, but maybe only some parties that are trusted have access to it, right? So, you know, you can use it to store patients' record. It's a decentralized database. I don't know that if you listen to a lot of cybersecurity news, or you read a lot of cybersecurity news, you see a lot of hospitals or maybe HMOs get hacked, and people's data and medical records get leaked on the dark web, and people sell it. So hackers always target people like this. But if you have a blockchain, if you're able to put up a blockchain database, that would actually solve a problem for you. Then we have lack of transparency. Then very big thing that actually happens, medical insurance fraud, which is very big. I don't know if that's an issue here, but it's quite an issue in so many other countries of the world, right? So it's there are so many things you can go through that, oh, okay, you customize your the accessibility, maybe, okay, depending on your level in your hospital or HMO or whatever healthcare service you're running. Somebody can access it and say, okay, maybe this a nurse, you only get so level of access, that kind of thing, but it's still very transparent, right? So it can also be permission based, that kind of thing, as I already said, fraud protection, increased security, right? And very important actually is data integrity, right? If you are a doctor treating a patient and the person says, oh, my blood is O negative, you want to know that that blood is negative, right? So you don't want maybe a bad actor to come and hack it and change that, and you make a lot of mistakes. So I feel blockchain actually has a lot of applications in healthcare. So let's speed up along. So now let's talk about DeFi. DeFi right now. DeFi is short for what we call decentralized finance, right? So think of your traditional financial market or traditional financial system. You know, we have this your for example, let's look at your bank, right? You save money in your bank. You you save money in the bank, right? They take that your money and lend it out to other people, mm, right? And even you yourself, you can also go to the bank and borrow, right? So when they take your money, they lend it out to other people, they collect interest on that, they give you a little percentage of that interest, right? Even when you too, you can go and you want to start a business, you go to the bank and they borrow you other people's money, you pay them interest, and the cycle goes on like that. So they benefit on both ends. But the problem with the whole centralization of many industries is the corruption, right? They can decide, oh, I even, and it happens everywhere, especially in countries that are really corrupt, like ours. You could go to the bank and you have a really good idea. You have maybe some decent uh, financials or whatever, and maybe even if it's an existing company, and you go to the bank and they'll deny you a loan because based on who you be, right? Who knows you, that kind of thing. So um, that centralization causes all those things, right? So for DeFi in crypto, it's trying to, what is it? What's DeFi trying to achieve? DeFi is trying to achieve a kind of financial system where the rules apply to everybody the same way, right? You can come in and let's say, okay, me now as an investor or trader, a speculator, I can come in, I see an opportunity to make a profit. I come in to my decentralized financial system and I take a loan, right? You understand? So the way it will work is some people already, just the same way with banks, some people have put their money in a kind of pool, and that pool is available to anybody to borrow from. So I can borrow from it, and as at the point that I'm borrowing, the whole decentralized software or whatever will tell me, oh, this is the interest rate that I'm going to take. This is the collateral I need to put in to be able to access that loan. So I can take that loan, make my trade, make my investments, get my profits, pay back, the interest rates and everything. So in the markets we now have, let me go into the slide actually. The markets we have what we call decentralized exchanges. This is really important for traders, but I'll skip that for now. We have lending and borrowing. At least lending and borrowing applies to everybody, right? If you have excess cash, you want to be able to, well, that's why people actually keep their money in banks. You want to be able to keep your money and say, okay, I'll get so interest rates at the end of the year, right? On top of my money just for keeping it in the bank. So you can actually lend your money out, right? Or you can also take a loan and actually borrow money. So that's it. And the benefit is that the same rules apply to everybody. As long as you come in and you meet the requirements, you're going to get your loan, or you're either able to lend or you're able to borrow. So there's global access. There's nobody that is going to discriminate you. Maybe, oh, you are from Iran or you are from Nigeria, like they typically did. What's the word now? They typically discriminate um, against Nigerians and many other African countries in other global financial systems. So also it's private, permissionless, meaning okay, I can take a loan. Nobody needs to know who I am, right? Although that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, right? But nobody needs to know who I am. Then it is non-custodial. So this one is actually quite important because non-custodial means for yeah, so okay, think about it this way. For you to be able to make an investment, or when you put your money in the bank, you do a kind of fixed deposit or something, you actually have to, that money has to leave your custody and actually go into the custody of the bank. But in decentralized finance, it doesn't have to happen that way. So you just have to put your money in what we call a smart contract or a smart wallet, and that money is still totally within your control, right? You are still at any time, according to the rules. There will be some rules though, but according to the rules, you can pull your money out and say, okay, I'm not doing anymore, right? So it's non-custodial. You retain custody of your funds in decentralized finance. Then there's liquidity available to everyone. What's liquidity? Liquidity is basically the concept of entry or exit into a market, right? So for example, if I buy a liquid asset is something I can sell easily, right? So for example, land is an asset, right? Stocks are an asset. Those are two different assets. So you have land on one hand, we have stocks on the other hand. So land is uh, an illiquid, what you call an illiquid asset, right? Stocks, on the other hand, are a liquid asset. So if I want to sell my land, I find it very difficult to sell my land, except I want to reduce my price, put it at a very price below the market price. For stocks, I can sell my stocks as long as the market is open. I can say, oh, I call my stockbroker or even if I have access to the maybe Nigerian stock exchange, I sell my stocks as early as tomorrow once the market opens. First thing the market opens, I sell it, I get my money. So that's liquidity. So for DEXs, for decentralized finance applications, liquidity is available to everybody. So, but however, it's a kind of just with crypto, like with crypto, this is a new area, right? So what are the issues? Education. A lot of people don't understand. Oh, what is behind, because everything is run by code, just like because that in crypto everything is run by the code behind everything. So some people don't understand the code. Some people don't understand the economics because each project, you know, we call them projects in crypto because those are like companies, but we call them projects. Just think of it more as a community projects, a startup that is a community project. You get not really funded by maybe a venture capital or something like that, right? So most people don't really understand the code behind the project, the whole economics and how everything and whether it's sustainable. That one is there. Then there's also another thing what we call scalability, which if you're new to this, you might not really understand, but just know that some issues. A lot of these decentralized finance applications, right? They are built on what we call Ethereum. Many of you might have heard of Ethereum. So Ethereum is having some what we call scaling issues that it's making it difficult to actually send funds from here to there on the network because of the very very high fees, right? So when there are high fees, it makes it difficult for the average guy, which they call the retail participants to actually participate. Then there's the user experience. The user experience is not so it's new, it's not so good. So a lot of people make mistakes that ends up costing them money, also very important, which is why even me, I've not really dived very deep into DeFi yet. So also very important is the fact that there is no secure industry standard. So this is a problem. Something that's just starting is, let's say, it's all of 2 or 3 or 4 years. It's not more than 3 years old, I think. So it's just starting, so no standard to say, oh, this is the standard of security that your code needs to have. So it's vulnerable to being hacked. It's vulnerable to being the whole, because there is the code side of things, there's the economic side of things, right? So if you build a financial application, you have to be sure that it's sustainable. So a lot of those projects, they will actually fail. A lot of them will fail, I'll be honest with you. A lot of them are going to fail because these are revolutionary ideas of changing the normal traditional world of finance. So a lot of them are not going to be sustainable in the long run, and they're actually going to fail. So that's a problem because there's no formula. Usually in the world, what happens is if people you stumble upon a formula and you stick to it. Yeah, so that's what happens. So interoperability. Well, that one is the interaction between all these financial applications makes it difficult to understand. So that is actually a problem. So I'll move on. So that's the end of that. So let's talk about Binance, right? Binance are the ones behind this class. They're the ones, the they provide a lot of education, right? So Binance is if you want to know more about Binance, Binance is the world's leading blockchain and cryptocurrency infrastructure provider. Basically, that's a mouthful. So they have a lot of financial products, right? And they also have a digital exchange, which is actually the largest in the world right now. They're actually my favorite exchange I use for most of my trading or investing. So for more information, you can visit Binance.com. You know, so what are some of the things they really believe in, and why do I maybe, so for some of you who know me and you hear Binance, I see me, I'm all about Binance, right? So freedom, right? It's just not about the company really, but what do they stand for? So their vision is to increase the freedom of money globally, right? They believe that by increasing the freedom of money through cryptocurrencies, you can significantly improve lives around the world. Like, for example, let's take this protest for an instance. When their bank accounts got blocked, that was a big issue for them because a lot of money was needed to provide food for the protesters, provide water, provide medical services, a lot of things. A lot of good was actually done by that money, but the protest was put at risk because of the government, when they blocked their funding, and Bitcoin was able to come in, step in and say, okay, let the money continue to flow in, right? So in that way, it was able to improve lives, right? And even people that live in oppressive regimes are still able to survive because of Bitcoin and many other cryptocurrencies. So that is it can improve lives, right? So we agree on that. So their trading volume ranking, basically Binance came and conquered this market in about 5 months, right? Within number down on by day 42, they were number 10. By day 92, they were number 5 in the world. By day 156, they were number 3. By day 165, that which is about 5 months, 5.5 months, they became the world number one exchange. So they are currently present in 180 countries and regions of the world. They have team members that work remote from 40 or more countries in the world. Their user interface on their website, on their platform, is translated into 15 plus languages. So they are actually a global company. So these are all the products they have. So you can look at some of them and see how they might be useful to you. So they have the okay, maybe let's start from here. You have the partner fiat to crypto exchanges, which you can deposit your money, your fiat, which is your legal tender, which is your naira, your dollar, your GBP, your South African rand, Kenyan shillings, whatever money you have, you can deposit it and use it to buy cryptocurrencies. So they also have, for those who are in the trading game, you have your spot exchange, you have your futures options, so many products. And what I really like is the educational aspects, which you begin to see the Binance Academy. Yeah, let me even post that in the chat if you want to go there. If you want to get Binance, if you want to get cryptocurrency education all in one place, you should actually go there. So I'll post that in the chat now. So you should be able to see that. Okay, maybe I didn't hyperlink that, but you should be able to see that. So yeah, so you have the academy, they do a lot of research and stuff like that. So I'll just move on because okay, the good thing is a lot of currencies are actually supported, right? A lot of currencies are supported, as you can see here, including our very own naira. So you can actually deposit naira on Binance. You can actually trade between one person or the other, that kind of thing. So why do I really use them, or why do people use them? They have the lowest fees, really cheap. You can do your transactions fast in seconds. You can deposit and withdraw conveniently. So these days, I keep most of my money actually in cryptocurrencies, right? Because I save it actually in cryptocurrencies, a kind of savings, and I get more return that I get from my bank. So like so that's why I do that right now. So most of my money is in cryptocurrencies. When I want to spend, I sell and I withdraw back into my bank easily within seconds or within minutes actually. So that makes it so this is the way you can do that within some minutes. You can use your bank to transfer into an account and it's going to reflect quickly. You can also use your card, very low fees, purchase instantly. You can also use the P2P part of the exchange. P2P, as I said, is peer to peer. So basically, there is one buyer, one seller. If I have crypto I want to sell, and somebody has crypto he want to buy, I give him my crypto, he gives me his naira, and we are square, right? And it's completely safe because Binance acts as the escrow service, right? They hold the funds until the transaction is completed and ensures that each party gets what they are supposed to get, right? And good thing about P2P is that you can actually set your own prices, right? Either above or below the market price, depending on what you want to do, right? So right now we've gotten to the practical aspect, and I'll switch my screen now so you can see how easy it is to actually do this, right? So okay, just give me a moment. Mhm. Hey, just give me a moment, please. So if you have your questions, you can actually post them in the chat. If there's anything you want to ask about the presentation so far, any slide you want me to revisit, you could ask now. Put in the chat and we'll discuss it, or you could unmute yourself and actually ask the question. So yeah. So if you want to get a Binance account, you could just follow this link here. They have an offer for this class. For everybody who attend this class, you can actually get an account, and they will give you a $5 bonus. I am also giving a $20 bonus for anybody who signs up and is able to make their first cryptocurrency purchase. I will actually show you how to do that now. Right. So I've switched my screen to the Binance exchange. Can everybody see that? Let me know in the chat. Who can see my screen, please? Can we see my screen?
Yes, you can see your
Okay,
screen.
thank you for the feedback. All right, so right. So I'm just going to show you how easy it is to sign up, and so to sign up, you just follow the link. It's going to take you, put in your email, put in your password, right? And you get sent a confirmation email, which you click normal, confirm your accounts, blah blah blah. So good thing is you can easily deposit Naira, which I'll actually do right now. So I just come, okay, let me go back. Let me not be too fast. So I just come here, right? I come to bank deposits, right? This tab here, buy crypto. I come to bank deposits. There's also a mobile app. You can also follow the same steps on the mobile app. So I click through this, right? Right, that's loading up, right? And I select Nigerian Naira, right? You can see a lot of currencies here, right? Nigerian Naira, and I can choose to either use a bank transfer or my card. So for this demonstration, I'll just use a bank transfer. Let's say I want to, then I put in the amount I want to deposit. I think the minimum deposit is, I think it said 150 Naira, which would not actually make sense because the fee is 150 to deposit, right? So I put in 10,000 Naira. Um, there's a fee of 150 Naira, flat fee of 150 Naira because of the processing and everything, because it's processed by Flutterwave. So I just click here, right? And it loads up, and the payment page is going to open. So I'm going to quickly open my bank app. So you can see now I get the details of the accounts where I transfer my money into, which is the Binance accounts in Nigeria. So I'll open my bank app now. I quickly make that transfer. So just give me a moment. About to make the transfer, which is 10,000. What bank is that? Where am I? Seven eight two nine 7829 56805. Did I miss a digit? 7829. Okay, 25. Right, so I'm gonna send that right now. So it pops up, it will bring the account, which is Binance Holdings Limited, and I'm going to confirm that right now. Yeah, so payment has been made, and I've gotten my debit alert. So I just come here, click, I've made this bank transfer. I think when it reflects there, it's going to refresh the page. Sorry, just hold on. Let's get this. It's usually instant, which I don't know what's happening right now. So are there any questions? Any questions so far? The presentation, if we go through it, is there any questions? Do you have any questions? Maybe remittance, what a blockchain is. For those who weren't here, maybe we started from what money is. We talked about how money is a tool to exchange value, right? And that value is just a shared belief. Money only has value because I believe it has value and you believe it has value, and that's why we can exchange it and we believe it has value, right? And we have fiat money, which is money issued by a government, it is the legal tender that replaces gold and other commodities. It's not really scarce, not doesn't have any intrinsic value. Actually, it's just paper, right? There's this saying that the US dollar costs more to print than the actual, like, for example, let's say I print $10. Printing $10 costs more to print than the actual note itself. So it's very funny, right? So we talk about what cryptocurrency is, which is basically a digital form of money, which is protected by cryptography, is distributed on a P2P network, can go across borders without any problem. We talk about what Bitcoin is. That is the first cryptocurrency. It's transparent, scarce, open source, censorship resistant. It can be destroyed or duplicated. It's borderless, as we said. So we talked about the creator of Bitcoin was Satoshi Nakamoto. The value of Bitcoin is actually the double spend problem that he solved. He launched it in 2009 and disappeared, and nobody has heard of him since. We talked about what the blockchain is, which is basically a distributed database, right? A distributed database, right? Just data or record of something that is all over the world on different computers, right? So we talk about blockchain, what you can store on the blockchain, money, documents, all sorts of digital data. It's also tamper proof, and that's what makes it so valuable, right? And it's just a chain of linked blocks. Just think about it that way. We talked about how participants on the network don't really need to trust each other because everybody keeps tracks of the balances and transactions, right? And if anybody tries to cheat the system, it's quickly that imposter or fraudster or whatever is quickly found out because everybody has a copy. We talked about what the difference between blockchain and Bitcoin is, right? Bitcoin is a digital currency, which is also a financial asset. It's tradable. You can sell it, buy it. It's the first and most popular cryptocurrency. It's a computer software and it is open source. Anybody can contribute to data. Like, for example, if you learn how to code, you could probably contribute to the Bitcoin software. It's open, it's public, it's decentralized. There's no central entity controlling it. Blockchain is distributed database, can record any type of information, any type of digital data. Has so many use cases, different ways to build. Is in summary is a digital ledger. We have the differences between Bitcoin and fiat money. Fiat is centralized, Bitcoin is decentralized. Fiat is controlled by governments, Bitcoin is peer to peer, not controlled by anybody. Fiat is not scarce, they keep on printing, printing, printing. Bitcoin is scarce, stuff like that. Unlimited supply, right? So this one has actually a controlled and limited supply, which is 21 million Bitcoins. I think they have mined about 18 million right now. So maybe about 3 million left to mine, right? So inefficient, Bitcoin is fast, cheap, censorship resistant. We talked about how bank transfer, how long it could take, and the percentage of the money that you actually lose as fees, and it's just not efficient, right? You have a blockchain transfer, far, far, far more efficient. And even this 0.5% is not even actually a fair estimate because it's more like a flat fee of $1 or $2 really per transaction, or even less. So we talked about how 0.49, it costs 0.49 in fees to move over $1 billion in a single transaction, which is actually mind blowing, right? So we have talked about cryptocurrency wallets. You have your hot wallets, which are your software wallets. You have your cold wallets, which are your desktop. I'm sorry, which are your hardware and paper wallets, right? So we talked about different blockchain use cases when we talk about remittance, supply, healthcare, gaming, right? There are people, there are actually gaming applications on the blockchain. There's governance, right? Governance is another one I actually quite like, right? So imagine they could actually be voting on the blockchain. Just imagine that on a so-called ledger, right? That you cannot hack, and whatever. For example, if I place a vote for Buhari, for example, not that I would do that. So, but I would that vote cannot be taken back, right? You understand? It can't be hacked. Nobody can come and steal my ballot box, that kind of thing. So it's something we might want to explore actually in the future as we continue to evolve. So we talk about remittance, easily set up money. So this one is actually very, very key. And I will urge people to learn about it. If you have any kind of service or any kind of goods you sell, think about setting up a Bitcoin payment system. If you already, if you already, especially if you sell goods outside the country, it might actually make sense for you. Less fees, no little or no intermediaries actually, just the blockchain network. The transactions are actually faster. So we have supply chain, which is has a lot of functions, has a lot of use cases, a lot of things that actually could be improved. We have healthcare and medical records and transparency and a lot of data integrity, because of healthcare. Healthcare data is actually very, very sensitive. And we talked about DeFi and all decentralized finance applications, how you can go to a market and lend money and receive interest, also and borrow money and pay interest and use it for anything you want to do, stuff like that, right? So okay, I'm checking my deposit now. I don't know what's okay. My payment hasn't been confirmed. Ah, that's a problem. Okay, actually it has been confirmed. Okay. So we talked about DeFi and all the financial inclusion. You get to hold custody of your funds, so and privacy. No need to offer all the KYC requirements and stuff like that. So that is that, right? So it's okay. My payment has actually reflected. It actually reflected immediately. Why was it not showing? So okay, I don't know if you can see my screen, right? So this is my payment here. This is it here, right? So has been successful. So I head over, I'll make a cryptocurrency purchase. So if I want to go, I want to buy crypto now. And okay, what do you guys think I should buy? tell me. Okay, somebody talked about Bitcoin mining, right? Expatiate on Bitcoin mining. How did the first Bitcoin come about? What is the threshold and limit and why? Okay, so this thing, your question is a very interesting question. So Bitcoin mining, okay, that's true. I actually didn't talk about Bitcoin mining in here. So Bitcoin mining is is the process by which, okay, maybe let me share this slides. So when we talk about the whole blockchain and the whole distributed database and everything, so Bitcoin mining is the process by which people we call miners, right, secure the Bitcoin network, right? So what it does is, we have what they try to do is, for let's think of every of this that you see, this icon here is what we call the block, right? So for every block, what happens is each block is basically a record of transactions. So you have Yinka sent Bola 1 Bitcoin, so sent half Bitcoin. Do you understand? So sent some, so received this, so send this, right? So each is actually a number of transactions, right, that are stamped. So this stamp is what the miners actually do. The stamp is a kind of validation, right? You want to validate that all these transactions actually happened at so time and they are valid, right? So how that is done is actually what is a cryptographic puzzle, but I don't want to bore you guys, right? So the cryptographic puzzle, the so-called miners, yeah, they use their fancy computer equipment to try and solve a kind of hard mathematical code puzzle, right? And the first to solve it is the person that gets to stamp the block, right? Or basically just put a seal on these transactions. The stamp is just a seal that says these transactions are valid, right? And the network now moves to the next block. So and that's why they call it a blockchain. So it's basically a series of blocks. You have one block above, like in chronological order, like one block by 6 p.m., another block by 6:10 p.m., another block by 6:20 p.m., right? Which each of those blocks contain transactions. Well, each one must be stamped before you can move to the next one, like that, right? Each, maybe that this is one, it has to be stamped before you can move to the next one, right? So that is the blockchain. So there is now what they call a block reward. Each person that stamps this gets some amount of Bitcoin. I think it's currently, is it 6.5, right? Some amount of Bitcoin for actually doing that hard work of solving the puzzle with his CPU and stuff like that. So that's it basically. So what was the threshold limits? I actually don't know. So those are the things that Satoshi and all the people that were early on the Bitcoin uh, network or the Bitcoin project actually discussed. You understand? If even those forums, I think some of them are archived. You can actually find them on the web. So please ignore that beeping noise. So you can find them on the web. So those, they actually decided that. I don't know how they came to that agreement, but it's something you can actually read up and you will find. Um, so that the why they decided that. Wow. So they decided that. So if there's any other question, put in the chat. I will go back to buying. So any suggestions for the cryptocurrency I want to buy right now? Someone said no use barrier avec. All right. So any is there any I need a suggestion. So I just for the you can unmute yourself or put in the chat what you want me to buy and I'll show you how you can buy it. Any suggestion? Hope I'm not speaking to myself. Okay, somebody said Litecoin. Okay. Okay. So okay. You can still see my screen, right? So it's really easy on the web. You can also do it on the mobile app too, or mobile app, yes, and web. Mobile app and web are the best method. So I just come here to buy crypto, right? And I've deposited. If I come here to bank deposit when I want to deposit. When I want to actually trade or buy, I'll just come here to either classic or advanced, and I'll just click right. So there's a recording of this. I'll still make it available if you want to watch it over. We'll post it on our YouTube channel, which I would share. I'll share YouTube channel. I'll share some survey later on, which I'll send to your emails for all of you who registered. So, okay, so this is the exchange interface. You can see so many things here, but basically where we want to look at is the buy, two places, the buy and sell tabs that we have here, right? So I'm just going to come here, right? So how we do it is there are pairs, or what we call pairs. So I have Naira, right? And I want to buy Litecoin. So I just come here and I type Lite, which is okay. I type the short ticker for Litecoin, which is LTC, right? Okay, you know what? I'll go to fiat. I'll go to Naira because there are so many cryptocurrencies. There are thousands of cryptocurrencies you can actually buy. So I come here, I look for Naira, which is NGN here. I hope you can see it. So I click that, and as like you can see, I can buy BNB, which is Binance Coin, with my Naira. I can buy BTC, which is a Bitcoin. I can buy BUSD with my Naira. I can buy ETH, which is Ethereum. I can buy TRX, which is actually Tron, right? Okay, yes. For now, there's no Litecoin pair actually. It might be something they will add. So maybe let me buy Ethereum right now. Let me buy Ethereum instead. So okay, I click that and it opens the Ethereum market, and my balance actually shows here, right? So what I need to do is, if you want to, you can either use a limit, what we call a limit order, which is just an order to buy at a specific price, right? You understand? So you can say I want to buy at 180,000 and wait for the price to fall to 180,000, or I can just buy at this price I'm seeing here. So if I want to buy at this price I'm seeing here, which is the current market price, I just come here and go to market order, right? I make sure I'm here on the buy tab, and I put in my amount, like how much do I want to buy. So the good thing is I have this slider here which I can decide. So this is my balance, right? I have 10,700 naira, right, in my account. So I can decide to use half of that money, right, to buy Ethereum, and this is the amount of Ethereum it will get me at the current market price here. Or I can just decide to use 100%. So let's see how 100% will work out. So I just come here and click buy. I click confirm. Okay, what happened there? Insufficient balance. Why? Okay, I think that would depend on on the market price. Okay, you know what? So I'll switch it to total, and that happened because the prices are constantly fluctuating, right? So let's just say I want to buy 10,500 naira, right, worth of Ethereum. I'll just click on buy. I click on confirm. I see that my notification of the market order has been filled, and I see my Ethereum. This is the Ethereum I now have, which is here, right here. I don't know if you can see this where my cursor is. So that's done. So to sell it, I just come back here and sell. I want to sell it instantly, so I just come to market. I push up my slider again. I say, okay, I want to sell everything I have. And I click here and I say sell. So I confirm once again, and you can see I've sold it, and I have my Naira balance back, right? So I can also withdraw. Click on withdraw instantly, right? And come here. So when you want to withdraw, you can actually withdraw crypto, which is like withdraw Bitcoin, withdraw Ethereum, or you can withdraw what we call fiat, as I've explained, which is just your Naira, right? So I want to withdraw Naira. I'll just click that. So I'll use this. I click here, bank transfer. I put in, this is what I have available right in the accounts. So I click this here. Oh, okay, only only integers. So let's say 10,650. Okay, I'll continue. So I put my bank account. Let me see if hope my bank is here. Okay, I use Kuda Bank. Put my bank account number. Actually, don't know my account.
I don't see anything.
Oh, sorry. You say you can't see? Who is that? You can't see? Can everybody else see?
No, the screen is like
Oh, currently
frozen.
frozen. Wow. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. I get what happened. I'm sorry. Let me share that. Share. Right. So, okay. Can you see the screen right now? Okay, so when I
Yes, I
clicked on
can.
that withdraw, it brought me here, right? So basically, okay, okay. So I clicked on withdraw here, and I can also click on withdraw here. If you go to wallet overview, this is the wallet place where you see all what you have in your wallet, stuff like that. So I'll just click on withdraw, right? And I want to withdraw fiat, right? I want to withdraw naira. So I'll come here and search for the currency, which is Nigerian naira. So this is what I have available. So I'll try and withdraw that now. So that's 10,650. So there are some fees. But funny enough, you can actually bypass these fees if you use the peer-to-peer. I have a video on that which I might share later. So, but you can also well use this. So I'll just click on continue here, select my bank. So my name is already there. You need to do a kind of ID verification too. Once you open your account, you can use your BVN easily for that. So here we need to, okay, I'm looking for Kuda. How is it? Okay, Kuda, let me get my account number, which I don't know. Okay, so that is 1100 100 382. So I can also take here, save it for next withdrawal. Confirm. So it gives me my details just to make sure I confirm everything. Yeah, so there's a lot of code because of security. So I get some codes which I will need to fill in before I am able to withdraw for security. So that ensures that nobody can withdraw from your account without your knowledge, right? So that's it. So I've gotten one of the codes. I'll just put that in. 793 460, and the other code is where's that code? Where's that code? Where's that code? So okay, I have sorry, this is taking long. So this is the other code, and I have my Google Authenticator code, which is the last code. So I have 659 988. But you can see that the security is much. So just to ensure that nobody can take money from your account without your knowledge. So my withdrawal order has been submitted. It will go through some processing, maybe a few minutes, might be an hour sometimes, depending on the network conditions. So, but that is done. So I have successfully deposited and withdraw and deposited money, bought some crypto, sold that crypto, and I've gotten my money, my naira back into my account. So that's basically it. That's it basically. So are there any questions? Anything you might want me to go over on the slide? So as I said, the offer is still up by Binance. Binance gives the offer of a $5 bonus if you deposit, if you sign up with this link here, which I posted in the chat, and you sign up here with this link in the chat and you buy, I think about minimum is I think about 20, is it $20? I think yeah, about $20. Although I'll confirm that. Minimum of $20, you get a $5 sign up bonus. Then for any other person to who just as a form of encouragement, just trying to get people to adopt cryptocurrencies as payments, you can if you also sign up and deposit, I am going to do a giveaway of $20, which at the end of the month, which I will give to one random person who signs up. So the link is in the chat to sign up. So I'll share a form into your emails where if you sign up and you do complete all the offer bullshit, you can submit that. And we'll do the draw. I'll do the draw live. I don't know where, maybe YouTube, maybe IG. But I'll do the draw live so everybody can see. So I'll give away $20 worth of Bitcoin or any other crypto that you want if you are the winner. So are there any other questions? Any other things you want to talk about? You didn't understand? Or it's all fine? Anything else, guys? Right? So okay, so let's just round up with, since if there's no other question. Okay, you said platforms like Bitcoins or Luno. Okay, so I used to use Luno before Binance came about, right? So I used to use Luno. I haven't actually used Bitcoins before, but I think those are places you could also buy cryptocurrencies. But I use Binance because of lower fees. So because I'm a trader, I always have to keep an eye on fees. I use Binance because of lower fees. So majorly that's it, and because of their trading platform. So lower fees and their trading platform is really really good, and they have a lot of services. So for example, if money that I have on the exchange, I actually have a kind of savings set up there that I'm getting an interest for just keeping money there that I'm not using to trade when I'm not trading. So buy coins, I think it's more of a P2P and other service. Yeah. So that's that. So also, if you're knowledgeable about cryptocurrencies, you can also apply, just like I did, to become a tutor. If you want to teach people, are you passionate about spreading knowledge? So let me copy this link and paste that. You can become a tutor. Just go and learn. And this offer is open up till the end of the year, actually. So learn all you need to learn. Teach a class too like this, and you can earn up to $500 per class. So that is that. So let me post that in the chat so you can see. No, yes, Olapegba, right? Yes, they do not all have the same charges for selling and buying. They don't. Binance has the lowest fees, about 0.1%. So that I think the lowest fees in the world, basically. Yeah. So Luno's fees are much, 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 much higher. So I don't, because of that, I don't use Luno anymore. So that's that. Is there any other question? So I posted that in the chat. You can check that link out. I'll also probably put it in the email I'll send to you guys. So very, very important. If you want to join Binance is actually a community exchange, and they really thrive on the community. It's a community that keeps it strong. I like to reward their community with giveaways, competitions, and everything like that. They are nice like that. So you can check out all these links. They have a Telegram, they have a Binance, Facebook, they have a Facebook page, they have Twitter, they have Telegram, and those are all buzzing communities. If you need knowledge about any of these things, you can go there and ask people, and they'll be able to help you out. So please, I thrive on feedback. If you attended this class, let me know what you've learned. Just if you're active on Twitter, just my handle is on Twitter is at Timmy Jobs. So that is let me just put that in the chat. So you can just tag me with whatever you've learned, or maybe you score me over 5, over 10, and say how well did I deliver this class, right? On Twitter. So let me post the Twitter link. So how well did I deliver this class, and stuff like that. So you can just score me and say what you learned, what if you learned anything, say what you learned, right? So yeah, so just give me a review and just put the hashtag my Binance class. Just put it up. I know I'll still send all this to the email, right? So I also open a feedback form. So if you feel I can improve on my teaching, I'd like to hear that too. So I think that's all we have. So if there are no more questions, we'll end.
So I have a
Okay.
question.
Yeah. Hi. Hello.
Yeah, hi Timmy. Thank you for class. So when you talked about blockchain
Yes.
being used
Okay.
in healthcare,
Yeah.
right? I was thinking if it's used to store
Okay.
records, for instance, does it mean that it's everyone who is on
Mm-hmm.
who has a record,
Mm.
right? That essentially, so the way Bitcoin is, and then it
Verifies. Yeah. Yeah.
the information on
Okay.
each user. Yeah, so is it just the people who have? So for instance, I go to the hospital, a patient, and I have a record for whatever illness I had,
Okay.
or whatever the case. Does that mean that it's just the patient? The verification is used for its, every single. I don't know how that
So
works.
this is the thing with blockchain networks, yeah,
I don't
right?
know.
Because they are all code, they are all software. It can be customized to do anything you want, basically, right? So it's just like it has to keep the core concept of decentralization, right? That means multiple parties can actually verify that data. So, for example, in the healthcare segment, how I think that could be used is you could have the hospital having the record, you could have the HMO verifying the record, or that kind of thing, depending on the application, right? Do you understand? So, or maybe it's a group of hospitals, or there's a necessity to keep a central database, or sorry, not a central database, yeah, but a kind of database that cuts across maybe all the healthcare facilities. For example, okay, let's use a very pertinent example right now. COVID, right? We have COVID pandemic uh, ravaging everywhere, but a lot of people in Nigeria don't believe COVID exists because of the records at the NCDC and everything. So for example, now there are a lot of hospitals that come in contact with COVID cases, right? And they are required by law to actually record those cases. So you could actually have a kind of blockchain system. A good way to implement that would be a blockchain system that records every COVID case that is encountered in every hospital. Do you understand? That is not accessible to anybody, right? Anybody can with access can look at that blockchain and say, okay, these are the cases, but you might not necessarily, depending on how you customize it, you might not necessarily see the patient's records. Maybe you wouldn't see the patient's name, but maybe you'll be able to count the numbers, right? Because the numbers are a very big thing to actually knowing what's happening. Is this thing spreading? Is it reducing? So there are many ways you can actually apply it, right? So maybe in that case, you could have your teaching hospitals be your verifying nodes or something. and you could have, just everybody keeping a record to ensure that you can't come and say, oh, the number of COVID cases yesterday was 2,000, but now it's 1,005. I know all those kind of mathematics that used to happen in Nigeria, like, so that's just it. I hope I was able to explain that. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So if there's no other question, we'll end on that note and wish everybody a good evening. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you. And if you have any question, I'm on Twitter, very active on Twitter. You could just DM me or mention me or something and we'll get talking, right? If you have any question. Okay, and before I even forget, if you're someone interested in right, you are interested in learning to trade cryptocurrencies, or just maybe you don't want to trade, maybe you just want to invest. So I have a community, right, which you can find out more about. Just check it out, where we trade there, we make invest. The whole goal of the community is actually to just teach people more about this space, especially for us young guys. It will be good for you to actually diversify your assets as you begin to earn some little money. Okay, so put some money in Bitcoin, put some money in cryptocurrencies or something, and that will actually help you to that would help you, just diversify your portfolio, because you are young, you can afford to take risks, maybe you're unlike your older people, right? So just diversify. So if you want to learn about that, you can just click this link and it joins. It's a Telegram group. So that's our community. We share ideas, everything. So if no other questions, that'll be all. Thank you all for being here. Have a great night. Have a great evening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. So, thank you. Anything else? Yeah,
Thank
you're
you very
welcome.
much,
You're welcome. So
Timile.
I'll share all these links, helpful things. I'll send it into your email. I might share a feedback form if you feel comfortable filling that in. But I'll actually prefer if you give the feedback on Twitter, because our sponsor would like to see that feedback. So that would be nice. So, and also don't forget the offer that's still there. So if you buy your crypto, you can get some money, some bonus, and I give away $20 worth of Bitcoin or crypto. So thank you all. Have a good evening. Right.